So if you have been in Canada for the last few years, you might have experienced that at least in the last 5 years, we have been going through sort of a recession, right? But this is the feeling that we have in households and all. So in for the last 5 years, quarter by quarter, for the full last 5 years, it feels like we have been going through a recession. But the government, it shows that the GDP is expanding, right? So it's a conflicting situation. We in the households feel that our income is going down, our savings are going down, we're going through a tough time. But the government is showing that the economy is expanding, the economy is going good. And I'll show you what are the reasons for that. Why is there such a conflict between the stats which government shows and the experience that we have in households living in Canada? So let me share my screen now. So this has been like the immigration levels and all of Canada for the last few years, right? So first of all, we have seen that the immigration was around 1% since like around last, like maybe last a decade and a half. And then after Trudeau joined, it has increased from like sort of 1%. So it was like 1.5% here. Then in 2022, it increased to 1.8%. 2023, we saw a record number of immigrants come in. So could have been like 2.5% or something. But that is the number of immigrants. That is not counting, this is counting the population. This is not counting the number of temporary residents that have come into Canada, right? So I know like people, when they see this video, especially the temporary residents, they'll be annoyed. Like the international students will be very annoyed by seeing this video. I myself, I'm an immigrant and I'm making these videos. But the reason I've made this video is because the government policies have been against international student, against, right? So they have been exploiting international students because they want to bring the international student just to bring in money. And there is a report that shows this, right? So let me show the report. So this report is by Bank of Canada, right? I'm not making this up. So it says increased immigration leads to lower wages in the short run, but does not affect wages in the longer run. So again, we have not seen that much increase in the immigration, but if we consider the number of temporary residents that have come in, so so the again, if you consider the temporary residents, I guess the increase in percentage would have been 3% every year, right? Every year it has been 3%. So you can imagine how much it would have increased, right? So in the short run, because of the increased immigration, or like especially when you're considering international students, they pay they would be paying like 35, 40, $50,000 Canadian dollars as fees for their courses and all. So they bring in a lot of money. That is why the government is bringing a lot of international students. Because so in the short run, because of all of these temporary residents, the GDP, the GDP has increased, right? The GDP rises. So per capita GDP falls. Now this is just considering the immigration. This is not considering again the temporary residents. So Canada again has made international students as a business. So international students, when they come in, they pay so much fees. So now they don't have any opportunity. And because of bringing so many students, it has created a bad situation for them. It has created a miserable situation for Canadian residents also. So their per capita GDP has reduced. Second is the costs have gone way high, right? So we have seen groceries are gone up, right? In the last 5 or 7 years, if you have been living in Toronto, you have seen that the rents have doubled, right? So your savings, like I'm not sure whether you'll be saving it all also. So that is the reason government can still show that we are not going through recession. But if you consider these factors and all, for sure we had been going through a recession quarter by quarter in the last 5 years, right? But the government has been able to protect themselves by bringing in a lot of international students. So they have been exploiting international students also, right? And then because of these short-term policies, as you have seen in the short run, the GDP increases, right? So the government has been just able to save their face. And because of that, it has also created a miserable situation for Canadian residents. So again, so the right policies would have been to invest into businesses. At least in the last 7 or 8 years, I have not seen any new business come into Canada, right? like a good sized business and all. I've not seen companies moving into Canada and creating something. I've not seen Canadian companies inventing newer things and all, selling across. I've not seen manufacturing move to Canada and all. I've not seen products that we're creating in Canada that we're exporting and all. I've not seen any services that we're developing that we're exporting to other countries, right? So you see all the news, right? All the new stuff, all the innovation that has been taken into China. India has also caught up. A lot of innovation is going there, right? Again, I'm from India. For immigrants, Canada is still the best country, I feel, right? And like at least I'm very happy here, right? But the reason to make these videos is to show the truth, right? Why exactly, as household, we are facing this crunch, but the government is showing that the economy is boosting, because those are wrong stats which are shared with everyone, and we should see the right stats. We should show to the government that we understand these basic things and all, right? Even if they try to fool us, we won't be fooled. So do share this video with your friends, right? So that we can at least try to learn from one another, and we can show to the government that we are aware of all the policies. So we want to act in the best interest for international students also, so that when they are brought in, they are not made a business, right? So their fees and all are not multiplied by 3 or 4 times and all. They pay like nominal fees, but then they are considered as an investment, right? So we, as Canada, we bring in the best students, try to maybe even subsidize their education and all, so then so that later they can create more businesses, they can create more startups and all, they can increase the average wages way higher in the longer term, right? Or maybe every immigrant or every student, a bright student that comes in, they can create 4 to 5 different jobs also per person. But Canada has not invested in that way. It has always, like in the at least last 7 or 8 years, I've seen that they have taken short-term policies, short-term interest and all, and they have made international students as a business. So please share this video so that we can make it heard, like so the government can see it and we all can understand also what is going behind the scenes.